All right, we are live. Welcome. This is Peter Voogd, founder of the prestigious Game Changers Academy. And thanks for tuning into our monthly Millionaire Series, where we interview the world's most elite and successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, entertainers, and real game changers. And people that I have massive respect for that aren't just making a huge difference in their industry, but in the world. And today we have someone that I'm excited to announce, but someone that really understands human behavior at a level very few do. And she's someone that's going to help you get exactly what you want. Best-selling author. Her videos have been watched millions of times, and she's one of the top speakers on the planet. I just found out, which is crazy. She went from struggling and frustrated and near bankruptcy to being one of the most requested female speakers in the world. She did 121 speeches last year at $35,000 a pop. She's a monster. That's crazy. So Mel, here's the deal. Welcome, Mel Robbins, one of my favorite speakers, and your energy matches mine. I love the legacy you're building, but I want people to understand. They see you crushing it right now. They see you succeeding, speaking, getting paid a lot of money, but a lot of people don't know some of the struggles. They know some of them, but you've been through it. You've been through a lot of struggle to come out to where you are today. So welcome, and thank you for spending the time with us.
Oh my God, my pleasure. I feel like I'm meeting my spirit animal. I've never been called a monster. I fucking love it. Oh wait, are we allowed to swear on your show?
Yeah, it's fine. Full authenticity.
Okay. Oh, so you asked me a question. So
no, I was saying thank you, and it's going to be a crazy, valuable call with me and you right here. So I'm excited.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I want to start differently. A lot of people know about the 5-second rule, and it's all over online. And I want to take a different approach. You're talking to a lot of achievers, and there's going to be a lot of achievers in our society's eyes. They're making 6 figures, but they're trying to get to 7. What's something that's been on your mind these last couple months that you've really been obsessing about that you can help achievers with, and what you feel like maybe is holding them back? We'll start with that.
Okay, well, I am going to tell you something. First of all, the only thing that's holding anybody back is self-doubt. So that is the number one thing that is going to get in anybody's way. I don't care if you're doing 7 figures, you're doing 6 figures, whatever. Self-doubt at every stage is going to creep back in, and it's going to prevent you from stepping outside your comfort zone, tweaking things that you need to tweak, and making the pivots that you need to make. There is something else, though, that I have been thinking a lot about, Peter, and it's impacting all of us in ways that I don't think we quite realize. And that is the fact that so much of our success is measured by what other people are doing. So I'm going to give you an example. Every one of us is probably following people we admire on social media. And that is both a good thing because it's inspiring, but you got to really watch out for when you start to beat yourself up over the fact that you're not where someone else is going to be. You and I have a good buddy, Lewis Howes, the School of Greatness. You know, yesterday, for example, I posted this post about how I got freaking lice. I don't even know who gave it to me, but you know, that lice is something that spreads because people hide it. It's like a secret, right? And so I write this big post, and then I see Lewis's post, and he's doing Cadillac confessions, you know, clearly some sort of branded thing. And I think, what am I doing? Like he's way ahead of me. He's got a Cadillac sponsorship. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. And so I think that there's something you got to really watch out for, ladies and gentlemen, and that is, are you using the people that inspire you to make you better, or are you using them to beat yourself up because you're not where they are? And so when you catch yourself, like I did yesterday, really being proud of Lewis and then using it as a way to say, oh, I gotta get going. I gotta do more of that. That's a problem. That's a form of self-doubt. And it is everywhere. You know, we were hiking with our kids. We have 2 teenage kids, and we were up in the presidential range in New Hampshire, and we were having a conversation about social media. And our daughter said something that I want everybody to take to heart. She said, your social life today is all about what everybody else is doing. And I think the same is true with business success. Too many of us fall into the trap of defining our business success by what other people are doing. And so if you get just one thing from our conversation today, other than a gigantic kick in the ass from both Peter and me, I want you to understand that your highest value proposition is you. There is only one you. You have inner wisdom. You have a unique set of experiences. You have struggles. All of that is yours. And so, yes, look around at what other people are doing and draw inspiration from it, but then pull it back in and check it against what your wisdom is telling you, what your definition of success is. And so those are two things right off the bat that I've been thinking a lot about. One is self-doubt is always and forever going to be your biggest obstacle. And number two, watch out for how quickly the things that inspire you become a trap that you use to invalidate where you're at. Because where you're at right now is exactly where you need to be. Exactly.
It's funny. Someone asked me a couple weeks ago, thinking back, what would you change about your past? Because I've had a rough past too. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, really, it's nothing. Everything set me up to where I am now. So, and I realized comparison is the ultimate misery. And I've learned the hard way. It's so easy to compare with everyone's social media accounts and all they're doing. So for you, you obviously had self-doubt you've talked about, and you were struggling.
I still do, Peter.
It's good for people to hear that, though. It's good for people to hear that.
You know what I'm scared of right now is I'm scared of doing live events. I literally have a story that if I were to create a live event and sell my own tickets, that nobody would show up. Wow. And it would be a gigantic failure. And so I realized that for 6 months, I've been living in fear of this thing that I know I want to do. And so when you catch yourself doubting yourself, and when you realize that the thing that you're not doing is simply because you're freaking afraid, that's a moment of great power because you just woke up. So we don't have a date yet, but we're going to do our first event next spring. And it'll either fail or it'll succeed. It'll probably be somewhere in between. But I love what you said. Listen, all the crap that you've dealt with in your life, I wouldn't trade it for anything because it's gotten me exactly where I am right now. And the same is true for all of you that are listening to Peter and me right now. Like, stop looking at the past. You know, you can't change your past. You can't change the weather. You can't change how your feelings might rise up in your body and how you get triggered, but you always have control over two things. This is the gift that we've been given as human beings. Number one, you can control what you think about. And a lot of us do not actually exercise that muscle enough. We're going to talk about that today. And number two, you can control what action you take next. So despite how tired you might be, despite how much you might doubt yourself, despite how scared shitless I am about having a live event, I can still choose to have it. And I can still choose to redirect my thoughts when I notice they drift to something that's not empowering me. And that's huge.
That's a game changer because a lot of people don't understand that successful people don't feel like doing it just like unsuccessful people. But the difference is they do it anyways. Yes. That's what I'm saying is you might not feel like going to the gym. You might not feel like taking action, making that phone call. But it doesn't matter if you feel like it because you're never really going to feel like it's the perfect time to go all in on your dreams. Is that what you're saying?
Totally. And, you know, look, the fact is there are going to be days where you got to clean toilets. We're all humans. And that's just a fact. And so also don't get discouraged when you have a string of toilet days. That's just what life is like. You can keep going forward. And so the other thing that I wanted to say is that for a lot of you that are watching this conversation right now, I know that you've kind of hit a plateau in your business, or you're struggling to kind of get to the quote next level. One of the things that I want to tell you is that, first of all, you know, Peter and I believe in you. That's why we're here. The second thing I want to tell you is you're 100% capable of doing the actions that will take you to the next level. The third thing I want to tell you is that you know what those actions are. The problem is you're spending all your time thinking about those actions, and that's a trap. That's where your self-doubt comes in. And what Peter and I want you to do is we want you to, first of all, acknowledge that you know what to do, acknowledge that you don't feel like doing it, or that you're scared like I am about taking my business to the next level and expanding into events, and do it anyway. Literally, like that's the formula for success. You should give 0 fucks about how you feel. And you should really focus on what you need to do. Like, think about what it was like when you were a kid and your parents were so annoying because they didn't care about your excuses. They knew what you needed to do and they pushed you to do it. And so, Peter and I really want you to, first of all, feel the acknowledgement that you got this. Secondly, like, no matter, stop focusing on the shit you can't change and start focusing on the actions you can take and more positive thoughts, because it's really difficult to get to the next level when you're busy cheering against yourself.
Let's go back, and I want people to understand, because a lot of achievers, Mel, I've seen, they're so obsessed with the tactics. They're like, I don't need the motivation, I need business tactics. But they don't realize that a lot of the stuff that's holding them back, even if they had the tactics, is in their mind. So I'm glad you talk about this first, which is huge. Let's go back. So you're struggling. You're filed for bankruptcy. This is a couple years ago, and you're an 8-figure business. What was the steps? If someone is in that stage where they're struggling, they're frustrated, they don't feel like it, but they're maybe still taking action, but they're not at the level they're capable of. For you, do you remember the first couple steps when you were struggling and how you got out of it?
Yeah, so it all starts, it's so interesting because I just finished an interview with a group that are doing a movie about morning routines, Hal Elrod, who wrote The Miracle Morning.
Oh, yeah.
And so it starts with your morning routine. And so, and here's why. So when I was stuck, and facing bankruptcy, and my husband and I were fighting, and I was unemployed, and his restaurant business was failing. So here you got this like trifecta of just doo-doo all over the place. This was his dream to have this business, and now it's failing as an entrepreneur. I lost my job after stepping into the media business. Just like one thing, fighting like crazy. And I had a terrible morning routine. I would hit the snooze alarm 5-6 times a morning. I would then mainline my phone and, read emails and surf social media. I would constantly eat bad food. The kids were always late for school. They were missing the bus constantly. It was like one decision after another that was horrible. Now, why was I making the decision to hit the snooze button 5 times? Because of my feelings. I felt overwhelmed. I felt terrified. I had tremendous anxiety. I felt like a loser. I had no confidence. I dreaded the day. All those feelings were driving my decisions. So, this is how I discovered the 5-second rule. It actually started as a simple hack in order to beat the snooze alarm. The alarm would go off. So I want to expand this moment, because I want you guys to understand the power of a 5-second decision. Your entire life, your entire business comes down to 5-second decisions, period. Do you make the phone call or not? Do you negotiate like a monster or not? Do you take the deal that sucks, or do you walk away from it or not? Like, these are the decisions that define your business, and they happen in 5 seconds flat. You either expand into your power or you shrink. That's what happens. And so for me, here I was hitting the snooze alarm, and I knew I needed to stop it, but I didn't know how. So I invented this little trick, because here's what happens. The alarm would go off, and in a matter of seconds, I would feel dread. I would think about bankruptcy. I would feel the anxiety come from my stomach. My heart would start to race. My throat would get tight. I'd start to sweat. I'd think about the day ahead and all of our problems. And I would immediately feel incapable. And I would shrink and hit the snooze. And that was all taking place like that. Just like when you look at the phone call, you look at that phone and there's a call you need to make for your business. You've been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. If you think about it for more than 5 seconds, you will come up with a reason not to make that call. You will. That's how our minds work. And so I decided, holy shit, this is happening like so fast. I got to move faster before my mind can talk me out of it. And so the first morning I used it, I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and stood up. The next morning when I used it, I was surprised it worked again. The next morning when I used it, I couldn't believe it worked again. And then I noticed this, and this is what I want you all to take away. Your mind is designed to protect you. The second you hesitate, and it could be the smallest thing, guys. It could be that somebody's telling you that the split on the deal is going to be 60-40, and your gut's like, what the? No, it's not. But if you hesitate and you start to go, oh, they're a bigger partner than me, and maybe I need this deal, you will, within 5 seconds, shrink, self-doubt will come in, and you will not own your power. But you can, if you move forward 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in that second, when you're like, wait a minute, 60, 40, I don't think so. It's 50, 50 or nothing, buddy. And you move, now you've interrupted the patterns that stop you, and you've taken control in a 5-second window. And you have also now developed this muscle where you're now starting to align action with instinct. Why is Jay-Z so successful? It's not because he sits around and he mainlines social media and he gives a hoot about what other people think. It's because he has an instinct, he goes for it. Why is Oprah so successful? Why is Steve Branson so successful? Why is anybody that you admire successful? It's not because they're lying in bed looking at social media. It's not because they sit around and doubt themselves. It's not because they eat a shit sandwich on a deal. It's because they've learned how to quiet the noise around them, to hear their instincts, and to move and lean into them. And that is the secret to your business. That's why you want to be an entrepreneur. It's not so that you can hide, it's so that you can expand. It's not so that you can live in fear of these phone calls. It's so that you can freaking pick up that phone and call anybody you want. That is your power. And I'm telling you right now, if you master this 5-second window, you win. And, look, Peter, it didn't even, so, how did I go? So now people are probably wondering, well, okay, fine. So you got up on time. How does that change things? I'll tell you how it changes anything. If you can master the ability to get up when you don't feel like it, that's the same thing as making a phone call when you don't feel like it. If you can master the ability to go to the gym when you're tired, that means you can work on that spreadsheet when you're tired. If you can master the ability to feel your emotions rise up at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shut them down and speak to your spouse with respect, even though you're pissed, then you know how to manage your emotions in a business setting. So in 5-second windows, what you're doing is you're building the muscle of self-control. You're building the muscle of discipline. You're building the muscle of aligning your actions and your thoughts with the things that matter to you instead of letting your emotions trigger you and wig you out and take you off course. It's freaking amazing. So I would say, for those of you that feel stuck, take a look at your routine, because you have one in the morning. The first 30 minutes of your day are the most important because they set the tone. Do you get up on time? Do you make your bed? Do you spend the first 20 minutes planning your day and the one thing that's important to your business? Do you schedule the one thing you're going to do to make progress on your priority? Before anything else, don't look at your phone. Don't sleep next to your phone. That phone is crack cocaine. You do not need it. We have become the tool. That is supposed to be a tool for your business. Number 2 rule for you, do not put that freaking phone next to your bed. Do not do it.
Huge. People need to hear this. So I think you're hitting them really, really hard. So what she's saying that I'm getting that is such a game changer that people need to conceptualize is how you do anything is how you do everything. So when she made that tough decision to get up, it made every other decision that she needed to make that she already knew she had to make easier because she did the hard decision to get up when she didn't feel like it. You said something that really stood out to me. You said one decision can change it all. And that might have been your decision back in the day to get up when you didn't feel like it because you felt powerful in other areas. Is that accurate?
Yeah. And here's the thing, guys. You're one decision away from a totally different life. One decision. That one phone call you've been avoiding for 6 months could change your business. And even if it doesn't, guess what? It changes you. Because when you push through the bullshit that holds you back, you change. And see, that's the secret. It started with me learning how to beat my feelings and get up when I didn't feel like it. And then it grew to becoming the kind of person that behaves in a way that's consistent with my values, even when sometimes I don't feel like it. Having the self-discipline to stop at 2 Manhattans instead of having 4 because I feel like it. Like literally having control over yourself so that you can align your actions and your thoughts with the things that matter to you instead of being a slave to the emotions that rise up. It'll change how you parent. It'll change how you run your business. It'll change how you treat your employees. It'll change how you negotiate.
How are you changing when you have 4 Manhattans? I'm just kidding.
Plowed.
I know.
The number where I am plowed. That is not a good, particularly if I make them at home. I could have 4 at a bar because they only put like a shot in, but
That's funny. That's a whole different topic. So I want to hit on something too that people need to understand because in this generation, especially millennials, they're so addicted to information and knowledge and they don't take action on what they learn. And instead of taking action on what they've already studied, they trick themselves and they get a cop out with them and they say, I got to study more. What you said is the answer is already in you. So a lot of people need to understand, even from this call, they don't need to study another 50 podcasts if they already have the answer in them to take action. So what do you mean when you said the answer really is already in you right now?
Of course it is. Like if I were to ask you, Peter, hey, Peter, I was bankrupt and I was fighting with my husband all the time and drinking too much. How could I change my life? What would you tell me to do?
Yeah.
Say, look for a job, Mel. Stop being a bitch to Chris. And you might want to consider sobering up. The answers are easy. It's the actions that are hard. Instead of being addicted to information, which to me is a form of self-doubt. Mm-hmm. If you need a credential because legally you can't own a nail salon without the license, get the credential. If you're getting a credential because you're scared shitless about selling yourself, it's time to start selling. Because the credential is not going to solve the self-doubt. The only thing that solves self-doubt is action. It's really that simple. And the other thing that we fixate on is you fixate on the big stuff. You got to start with the little stuff. They did this massive research project at the Harvard Business School where they basically asked what makes people feel satisfied or successful with their work. And after this monster study, they came down to one factor. Are you making progress every day on something that's important to you? You see, a mistake that we make is that we wait to feel ready to do something. So we have all this pent up energy and then we make a burst and we make 10 phone calls. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like motivated. This is freaking amazing. And then all of a sudden you're like, woo, I'm done. Oh, and then you don't do it for a week. You are so much better off making one important phone call a day. So much better off because you're seeing yourself make progress on something every single day. And you're also not relying on these bouts of feeling motivated, which come and go like the breeze.
So we're going to talk action, Mel. Caroline has a great question, and both the questions are related to the same type of thing. She said, I love the 5-second rule as a superpower against procrastination. How do you ensure you're 5-seconding the right actions? How do I avoid busy action and only apply that to the right actions? She's just not sure what actions to take. And I'm sure you've been there as I have. What do you tell her?
Well, so first of all, I think any action that you take is a good one, even if it's busy, right? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get moving, stop thinking, do what you need to do. When you notice that you're just focused on the busy stuff, and your wisdom, your instincts are telling you you're avoiding the big thing, that's a moment of power. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go focus on the big thing. The other thing that's going to help her is if every morning you, in those 20 minutes that you find for yourself before you look at the phone and you plan your day, come up with your priority for the day that matters to you, like some project you're working on, something related to your business, and then identify the one thing that you're going to do that scares you today to drive the business forward. That's it. If you were to just do one thing a day that's outside your comfort zone with your business, you'll be shocked at where your business is 6 months from now. Just one. I'm not asking for big shit here. I'm asking for one thing. And do it even though you don't feel like it.
So you didn't always know exactly what action to take. You were just taking action and adapting and adjusting along the way.
No, I feel like there are some people in life that I think are like gifted with OCD or like on the spectrum Aspergery that are super like focused and they know exactly what they want and they can just march right towards it and that's how they go. I'm not like that. I have to stumble into things. So what happens for me is my instincts tell me something. And then I go and take action to do it. And then as I'm doing it, I gather all this data that tells me I hate, oh, what the heck? Hold on, this is CNN. We got to decline that. Tell them goodbye. Data that informs me. I'm going to give you an example, okay? So I had tremendous success in the speaking business. I went from zero, never had been paid for a speech, to literally the most booked woman in the world in 3 years flat.
Crazy.
And there's a number of reasons why. Number one, the content's terrific. I'm also a really good public speaker. There's not a lot of women on the circuit, but more importantly, I behave in a way because I know that the number one asset in business is make the people you're dealing with know that they matter. take care of everybody you deal with, everybody. The event planners, the speaking bureaus, everybody has something that they're worried about. You get rid of the worry, you make them feel like they're important. Everybody wants to be around you because at the end of the day, we all want to know that we matter. So if you do business with people that make you feel good, you want to do more business with them. And so it's a really, really simple thing. I call it, my philosophy about human beings is just be a fan. Just cheer for everybody. There's so much success to go around. People have really difficult lives. They make things really hard for themselves. Make their life easy. Make them feel great. Give them a hug, smile, compliment them. Be generous. Don't be a pain in the ass. Like literally, it's that simple. So I explode. Now here's the thing. I thought when I started the speaking business that it would be really amazing to just for the rest of my life be a speaker. Here's what I discovered. There are so many aspects of running a speaking business at this level that deplete the hell out of me. I hate being alone. I hate traveling that much. I really don't like the fact that when I get off the stage, I don't have contact with the audience anymore. What energizes me is conversations like this. What energizes me is hearing from people, connecting with them, the ongoing stuff. And so a year ago, I made a decision, I got to shift the business. Now, it's already a really successful business. And you watching this, your business may be wildly successful too. Let me ask you a question. What aspects of your business energize you? And what aspects deplete you? There's an enormous business opportunity for you right now to simply align your business with the things that energize you more. So for me, that meant, how do I take this significant revenue and duplicate it, but not get on a plane? How do I reach people with these ideas and inspire them without having to be away from my family? How do I have an ongoing connection? Because those are the things that energize me. And so I made a huge pivot. We cut the number of speeches in half and we launched an online course business. We are now in the audio products business. And so that, because it energizes me, because I have an ongoing connection with people. Other than talking to you, which is fucking awesome, hearing from everybody, what they got out of this, seeing your photographs of you with the phone and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then getting the post that you actually closed a big deal. That is so cool because I see that you're changing. That is what is amazing. Now, here's the other thing, guys. 5 years from now, it may deplete the hell out of me to do online courses. Something else, live events, might energize me. So I will make that pivot. So when I said in the very beginning, Peter, there's only one you, and you've got this whole casserole of experiences and interesting wisdom, that depleted versus energized data is that wisdom. Use it to your advantage in business. If you freaking hate selling, hire somebody to do it for you. Pay attention to what your instincts are telling you. I'm not great at managing people. I don't have the patience to explain everything, you know? I'm not great with details in terms of production management. It depletes me. So don't do it. Find a partner, get somebody so this is what I'm saying. You may be banging your head against the wall, and the reason why you haven't hit that level is because you're scared shitless to hire somebody or partner with somebody or give up this aspect of your business that takes 80% of your time, gives you 20% of your revenue, and depletes the hell out of you. Stop being stupid. Do the stuff that feels good. That's easy. That doesn't mean you won't have toilet days. That doesn't mean you don't have to do stuff like empty the trash or do the annoying things. We all have to. But align your business with the things that naturally energize you, and you will explode your income.
And it comes from really knowing yourself, right? It comes from self-monitorization, like you say. And the two questions that you bring up that are very important that I want to hit on too, because people need to understand who they really are. And what you say is, what do I stand for? What is my outcome? And that could change. Like you said, we talked before, we had a great conversation before. You were talking about how you need to behave differently every stage of your business. 10 years ago, what you did doesn't work anymore. So talk about what you stand for in the outcome and why that's important in knowing yourself.
Well, I think that I'm all about helping people discover the power inside them. I'm all about helping people remove self-doubt. It has plagued me for so long. I'm almost 50 years old. The first 50 years of my life were about anxiety, about depression, about self-doubt, about feeling afraid of disappointing people. I'm over that. And I want everybody to know, whether you're 10 years old or 100 years old, that if you're not dead, you're not done. And you can always take control of the mental game. And when you do, and it starts, by the way, with getting up on time. When you do, everything changes, because that's a muscle. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No,
you're
in the zone. I love it. I was just talking about, for you, when you asked those questions, even when you were in the U-Haul going to the job that you thought you wanted, but something in your gut was wrong. You're like, what are my values? What's most important to me? And this just doesn't feel right. And a lot of people, when it doesn't feel right, they're like, well, my mom thinks it's okay. My friends think it's okay. I've already committed. I've already spent the money. You went the opposite and you said, it's not for me. I'm done.
Well, see, you got to
need to do that more.
They do. But here's the thing, because people get hung up with, but that feeling, it's like, they're scared of the feeling. First of all, if something is dangerous, your body is hardwired to get you away. Okay. So you never have to worry about dangerous situations, because your body, like, for example, if there's a loud noise, even a baby ducks, you're designed to move away from something that is dangerous. The gut feeling that something's not right, that's very different than the gut feeling that you're just scared of something. So when you're just scared to do something, that's the feeling of being a chicken. Got it? When your gut's telling you something's not right, you're now a Buddha. So there's a big difference between being Buddha and saying, this person I'm dating doesn't feel right, versus, holy shit, I've been in a string of bad relationships and I'm really scared because this person's actually amazing. That's chicken. Do you understand? And so really important, big difference. When you're chicken, push yourself to move forward. When you are having that Buddha instinct, listen to it. Get out of there.
I'm a big advocate for your gut. I don't think my gut's ever been wrong in my life. And
well, let me throw some science at you, Peter. So this is only 6 months old. So the Human Genome Project, which are the same folks that actually sequence the human DNA, right? They recently discovered the fact that when we're in an embryonic state being formed in the womb, there's one clump of embryonic tissue. One big clump. And then all of a sudden it separates, that singular clump. And this part on top becomes your brain. This part from the same exact clump becomes your gut. The neurotransmitters that are in your brain are the same neurotransmitters that are in your gut. They were formed from the same freaking clump. And there's more unique DNA in your gut than there is in the entire rest of the part of your body. In fact, you're going to be reading a lot of articles now where you hear about, quote, the second brain. They call your gut the second brain because of the chemistry and the physical structure of it and how it was formed and its actual physical connection to your brain. So there is tremendous science behind this idea of your gut. And you're going to see in the next several years that they're going to start treating diseases by treating your gut. Really fascinating.
Wow. I mean, that makes sense. That gave me chills because it's so accurate, but people don't trust their gut sometimes because they don't have that science. So it's good to put that science behind the gut so people can really understand the importance of it and follow it. You know what I mean? I love that. Let's go to some game changer questions. Kelly, already successful. Great question. I'm curious to hear your answer. I'd love to get her best advice for balancing motherhood and business. What was the best that saved her sanity? Both my business and my family exploded at the same time. My business was born with a 10-month-old on my lap. My third's about to start school next year. I hit 1 million fans on Facebook, but I feel like it's been a crazy rodeo ride.
It has been a crazy rodeo ride. So there's a couple things that I'm going to tell you. First of all, congratulations on your success, on your family. That's super cool. There's no good advice. There's no good advice because, number one, your life is going to change dramatically based on the ages of your kids. So when your kids hit school and you suddenly have kind of that 9 to 3 zone freed up, that's a whole different phase. When your kids are little, you can be gone a lot more, believe it or not, because they're not going to remember it. And what they really need are people paying attention to them, and you need to pay attention to your business. What you want to do, I personally think, is be very, very disciplined about your time management so that you have a great morning routine that you do before the kids get up so you can get focused for the day, be present with the kids, get into business mode if you can, and then plan your quitting time. When are you going to put the phone down? When are you going to make some decisions so you can be present at night? Planning your quitting time is really important because what it does is it actually creates more intensity in terms of the amount of hours that you're giving to work. Because have you ever noticed if you give a project 8 hours, you'll use 8 hours.
Yeah,
but if you do the same project in 30 minutes, you'll finish it in 30 minutes. The other thing I want to say is this. There is no greater gift for a woman to give to her kids than to show them an example of somebody who's empowered and alive in the world. No greater gift. People ask me all the time, how are your kids about the fact that you travel? And the truth is, do I miss them? Of course. Does it suck at times where I'm sitting in a Marriott somewhere and I'm missing a lacrosse game? You better believe it does. However, I wouldn't trade it for the world because they are seeing what it looks like to have to have a parent be so self-expressed and happy and also creating a life. And so the example that you are giving to your kids by A, being intentional about your time, B, building something that's important to you, C, showing them what an entrepreneurial life looks like, and 4, leveraging the web to do it as this is the coolest thing that you could possibly do. So there is no balance. There will be periods where you feel out of whack. It's cool. We all go through it. And just pay attention to when you're really depleted as a mom and then do more things that energize you. Pay attention to when you're really depleted as a business owner and then do more things that energize you. And that's it. You just got to tune in. There will be weeks where you could travel for a week away from your kids and not miss them at all. And that's fine. That's fine. Your kids are going to be fine. You got to focus on you being happy and having the discipline to work during certain hours so you can be present for certain hours with them too.
Mel, do you see a lot of society, a lot of moms, a lot of female entrepreneurs, even men, do you see a lot of people using kids or they don't have any time as a crutch to not start a business, to not follow their passion?
Yeah, I think it's a huge fear that, you're going to do something wrong if you cut the income and pursue a passion, or that you are going to jeopardize your family somehow. The truth is, it's actually the best thing you could do for your family, because showing kids a model where you're building something, that is so empowering. They can't learn that in school. I'm a 4th generation small business owner. I grew up around a kitchen table with farmers and machinists, and my dad was a doc. My mom had a retail store, a bakery. That just was life. And so it's no surprise to me that I have gone on to launch my own businesses, that I married an entrepreneur, that, and so I think that you've got to really think about, you got one shot at this life. That's it. And there's no perfect time to do anything. Now, I'm not suggesting you quit your job right now if that's the situation, but start your side hustle for sure and grow it until you get to a point where you can. And for those of you that are at a point with the million followers, Kelly's hardest decision is going to be this one: hiring somebody. At some point, every entrepreneur faces the situation where you just can't grow on your own anymore. It's just not possible. There are not enough hours. There's too much to do. There's too much to do that's outside your skill set. And so if Kelly hasn't already outsourced, whether it's fan management in terms of the comments, or she hasn't hired somebody underneath her to come in and do it, or hired somebody to deal with the business aspects of things, now is the time to bite the bullet, drop the amount of money that you make for a little bit, but actually give yourself back the time so you can focus on the things that make you money. That's one of the hardest growth points for most people. And I bet that there's a lot of you, if you're making 6 figures and you're not making 7, that you haven't invested in a team yet that's really working.
That's huge. I think, and that's tough to do because you're giving up some of your business. You feel like you could do it better than everybody else. So that's a game changer. I want people to understand. And we talk about that too, making sure you hire. If someone can do something 80% as good as you, and you don't love doing it, it's not a strength, you got to get rid of that. So I love that you say that. Now, what about?
They're going to do it maybe 60% like you would, but they're going to do it 100% better than you're going to, because they're going to give it their attention. They're going to do it a little bit differently, and you hate doing it anyway. So like that is a decision that takes courage, but it's an important one to recognize that if you keep hitting the ceiling and you can't seem to get through it, I guarantee you it's an issue with the resources that you have. And it's time to invest in somebody. Maybe it's just the back office stuff. Have somebody take care of AR and do your billing for you. If you're in some sort of consulting business, or outsource something that doesn't make you money, because as the business owner, you need to be focused on the things that make you money. That should be 80% of your day right there.
What was do you remember your key hire, your first key hire that you were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's my business partner. You just met her. So Mandy was when I had my first radio show, Mandy was my producer. And we worked together. We did a syndicated radio show 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, live call-in, breaking news show, commentary. And I was in Boston and she was based in Orlando. So we worked together over Skype, just like this. And she did the phones, she produced the show. And I turned to my husband after a week of working with her, because she's, I'm almost 50. Mandy is late 20s. She's freaking hilarious. She's super smart, and she's the kind of person that just figures everything out. She's a musician, went to Berklee School of Music, understands technology, crazy sports fan, like just so much complimentary stuff that I don't bring to the table. So I said to Chris, literally a week after working with her, when I launch a company, I'm doing it with her. End of story. And so having Mandy as a business partner, we've launched and sold a business together. We're now running another business together. It's freaking incredible.
I saw her. She's awesome. And you brag about her. So she should feel special, and she's making your brand happen too. So I love that. That's a good partnership.
Well, it's our brand. You know what I mean? Like, I might be the person that's in front, and you as the owner of your business, you tend to feel like it's your thing. When you start to really think about what you're building is our thing, not necessarily that people have equity, although Mandy is, an equity partner in everything that we're doing. But how you treat people equitably, like they're part of this thing, that changes how you view your business too. What are we building versus what are you doing? Including
them and making them feel like part of the movement. I like that. Mary has a question, and this kind of revolves around motivating people. You said, obviously, this isn't your strengths, but I know you've dealt with it. Do you have tips for when you help others, you're trying to motivate somebody and you see the spark in them, but they just resist taking action? What's your biggest key? Maybe it's hiring the right people that are already motivated. I don't know.
No. I actually think anybody can be groomed into being incredible. Okay. And so there's a couple things. One is, if people are not motivated, they probably don't have clear direction. So we have a son that has dyslexia, and it's taught me a lot about learning styles. And so a lot of times what happens when you hire people is we avalanche them with information, and then we step back and we do nothing. And then we step in a week later and we micromanage the hell and nitpick out of the little details, which demoralizes somebody. What people actually need when they start, and even as they go along with you, is they need to be basically trained and directed and acknowledged every step of the way very consistently. You need to spend 80% of your time telling people what they're doing right, so that you build their self-esteem and their confidence, because when you look at the science around confidence, it is all anchored in competency. So is somebody's competency around a task, whether it's how we book your travel, or how you put up an internet post, or how you like your emails written when you're dealing with clients, that will take time for somebody to understand and build competency. And it's over time that they gain the confidence to do it themselves. If you start swooping in and nitpicking at the small, piddly little shit, you're going to demoralize this person. So tons of acknowledgement, breaking things down into little pieces and being very clear. This is why I'm not good at managing folks, because I move 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it takes patience and consistency to properly train somebody. The other thing that's really important is people want to know that they matter. You know, nobody wants to show up at your business and feel like nobody gives a crap. So one of the most important things you can do, and this is research from a 3-year-long research study that was done at Google about, or excuse me, I think it was done at Facebook. It's called Project Aristotle, and they wanted to know what makes for the most engaged teams. And the singular factor was whether or not the manager asked people for their opinion. So if you're sitting in a meeting, don't ever leave a meeting with your team without going around the table and asking everybody what their reaction is to what you're talking about. Because what you're modeling is, hey, me as the owner, I don't just care about what Peter and Mel say because they're annoying and they're loud and they're extroverted and they're going to make me listen. I actually care about what everybody thinks. And so you're modeling in a very public way, all of you matter. All of your opinions matter. So that level of training, very important. Acknowledgement, very important. Asking people for their input, very, very, very important. You do those things and, you know, you'll win. The people.
You got to get rid of the ego, because I see managers and I get people that reach out to me and they're like, well, I know what's best. I don't want to ask my team. And that's why the team's not motivated. But I think you have to remove the ego. Would you say?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's about managing and leading people is all about being a fan of people. It's about building them up. We shouldn't call it leading teams. We should call it building up teams. Like, the leader is not somebody that should be in front with everybody following. The leader should be the person behind the team, cheering for them, directing them to pivot a little to the left. Like, the greatest ideas come from people that are on the front lines tinkering. You know, it's the way that the Frappuccino, most people don't even know how the Frappuccino was invented. It was invented by some guy that worked at a Santa Monica Starbucks. And he had an instinct that every time that it was hot, they weren't busy. So he took all the ingredients that they had, the milk and the cream and the sugar and the coffee grinds. And he started tinkering with a blender in the back room. He brought his own blender in, by the way. They didn't have them in 1993. And a month later, a VP walks in, and this guy, Greg Rogers, who worked for Starbucks, was like, hey, come here, I want to show you something. And he gave him a sip, and the VP was so impressed, he took it straight to Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks.
Wow.
Now, it took them a year at corporate, because that's what happens at corporate, to figure out, what are we going to do? They decided to pilot it, guys, 1 year later. Just pilot it for a couple weeks in that Santa Monica store. Within 2 weeks, Peter, it was 40% of sales. It's now 20% of Starbucks total revenue. So you don't know. The people that work for you have incredible ideas because they're in the trenches. I'm going to tell you something. The community managers that run our courses, that are in the private Facebook groups for the courses that we run on confidence and courage and clarity, they know my student body better than I do. They have way better ideas for how to improve the course because they're in it. And so I'm missing out if I literally let my ego or my fear do the talking and I don't stop and say, hey, wait a minute, let's hear from everybody because your ideas are probably going to be better than mine. Let's go.
It's been a difference maker for me. A lot of my team is better than me at certain areas, and I trust their judgment. I ask them for opinions all the time. And I think they take the brand, they feel like they're responsible for the success and they're part of the movement. And I love that. So I had to get rid of my ego, but I feel like they know certain areas better than I do. And that's how your team should be. You shouldn't have to make every decision at every level when you're the CEO or founder.
People forget that Gary Vaynerchuk has 600 people working in his media company. So a lot of people watch his videos and he's awesome. And I love the fact that he's moving kind of away from social and into personal development and more about being satisfied with your life rather than successful and being a great human being instead of hustle, 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 hustle. And you forget, though, that there is a freaking huge machine behind that guy. And this gets back to our very beginning point. You can look at the people that inspire you And you either use it as inspiration and as goalposts to start working towards, or you'll catch yourself bashing yourself with incomplete information. The number one thing I want you guys to do, obviously we've hammered action, is I want you to start to practice your mindset. When you feel your thoughts drift over here and they're negative, or they're not serving you, or they're doubtful, I want you to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I want you to insert something, an anchor thought around you and your success. So for me, when I am thinking about the event business and I immediately go, no one's showing up, this will be a huge failure. Who do you think you are? That's a dumb idea. I yank it back. I like mentally bitch slap myself. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the anchor thought is me with my team. This is the vision that I have. The event is over. We're all on the floor, exhausted. And I'm saying, I can't believe how freaking amazing that was. And so who knows if that's going to be the reality, but what happens is that thought tricks my mind, and my mind literally goes, oh wait, she's not nervous about it. She's actually excited about what's going to happen. And so by doing that, not only am I building the muscle of having a attitude and a mindset that serves me, I'm also developing the self-control to stabilize the physiology part of self-doubt, because I don't ever let it hijack me. I'm doing it right now a lot with my son. Our 12-year-old is at camp, and we've gotten some really like sad letters, SOS, I hate myself, get me out of here, I'll do anything, I want to come home, typical 12-year-old homesick stuff. And I've talked to his counselors, they're assuring us that he's a smiley self during the day. It's during the rest period where he's writing letters that he's suddenly sounding suicidal. And I don't sound that jokingly. He literally wrote, I want to die. So I'm like, call the camp. Okay, what's going on? And I noticed that my mind, literally, it's raining today here in Boston, and I'm like, oh my God, he's depressed in his cabin. Oh no, he's out in the Berkshires. And I'm like, wait, what are you doing, Mel? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Think about seeing him on Sunday and smiling and introducing you to his friends. Do not dwell there. I have no idea what state he's in right now. Why would I want to torture myself? You can control what you think about. It is a choice. It's normal to feel nervous, guys. It's a choice to let yourself stay there. It's normal to feel overwhelmed. It is a choice to remain there. It's normal for me as a mother to be worried about my kid. It is a choice to let myself stay there. Period. Choose wisely.
I love this. We have a question from Adrian. How do you build an exceptional team on a budget to where the mentors that could really help her in certain areas, they're out of her financial reach? So what's the next option? Can you build a team on a budget? Of course you can. Because you can first of all get people to, if you're building something cool enough, you can start with interns, first of all. But in order to make an intern really awesome, you got to follow the advice, which is you got to be willing to break down the things that you need done. You got to be willing to acknowledge the person and handhold a little bit. And you've got to put some benchmarks in place for how this turns into a job. That's number one. Number two, you can always, if you find exceptional people and you can't afford to pay them, you can always offer them some skin in the game. They can get a percentage of what they sell. They can, if they give people targets that you'll pay for. If you're trying to grow your social media footprint, give somebody a target. You grow it by X, I'll pay you Y. So it's a pay per performance. But the frustrating thing is that it takes a little bit longer because you're going to have to find people that are motivated to want to prove themselves. But truthfully, the people that the folks that started out doing my videos and my now creative director, they literally started as people working on spec that were interested in being part of what I was building. And over the course of several weeks showed us such great work that we figured out how to pay them. So what's your advice for the person that has the drive and time, but they're not exactly sure what they want to do? You probably get this so much with how much influence you have. How do they know what to go all in on? How'd you know you had to go all in on speaking? What's the advice, tactics, thoughts, questions they can ask? I'll tell you a story. Any idea you have is worth exploring for at least a week.
So back in the day, I used to dream about having a bakery, okay? Dream, okay, I'm gonna own a bakery. And I'm gonna own a bakery like Barefoot Contessa, and it's gonna be beautiful, and it's gonna have a HGTV show attached to it, a Food Network, and I'm gonna do cookbooks, and it's gonna be the kind of place where you go in, you spend your $6 on your coffee and the big sticky buns, mwah, amazing, right? Okay. So most of us sit up here. Should I do the bakery? Should I be a lawyer? What should I do? I don't know. And years go by as you think and think and think and think and think, and I don't know what to choose, and holy shit, blah, blah, blah. Pick one thing. I picked the bakery. Now, every day, make progress on what that means. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean think about it. Maybe it means read a book. Maybe it means take a course on baking. You know what it meant for me? Go get a job on Sunday mornings working in one. Let me tell you something, Peter. It took me exactly 30 seconds of working in a bakery to realize I did not want to own a bakery. Because owning a bakery means you're waiting on customers, you're smelling like carrot muffins all day, you're filling up the milk and the soy milk and the sugars, you're wiping down tables, you're getting up super early. I wanted something else. I wanted to live near a place like that. I wanted to have the financial freedom to walk in and buy a $6 latte if I wanted it. I wanted to have the control over my schedule, so if I wanted to go work in a bakery like that for an hour, I could. And I wanted the community aspect of walking into a place like that and having everyone go, oh, hey, Mel, good morning. Do you want the carrot muffin with the latte again? That's what I wanted. You see, your goals and dreams have treasures inside them. And you only discover what the treasures, those insights are, when you take action and move towards it. I would never have known that I wanted to get into the online course business and the podcasting business and the book writing business without first being a speaker and understanding that I didn't want to speak as much as I was speaking. So whatever it is, whether it's a dog walking business or you want to get into internet marketing, take a step toward it and then do what I've already told you to do. Are you depleted or are you energized? And figure out what piece of that goal, that dream, that bakery treasure thing energizes you. And then go explore that a little bit more. That's how you use your goals and dreams. You use them as a guidepost to march toward. And as you're marching toward it, be freaking awake and pay attention to what your body is telling you about what you like and what you don't like. It's that simple. And then don't throw it all up in the air. Just move more towards things that you really like. You know what bites me in the ass every time? Is I know that I have to have creative control over everything I do. And every time I let my fear or self-doubt talk me into working with a partner where they get to control it, I fucking hate it. I know that about myself now. So I can go into any deal and negotiate like a monster because I know that any deal where I don't have creative control, I will be depleted. I will hate it. So that is insight gained over lots of failures, lots of experimenting. Every one of your dreams, guys, holds something that you need to learn. You're not going to learn it unless you take action. And so pick one thing, just one thing, and move toward it. And do that every day, and your life will look totally different 6 months from now.
So you reality checked yourself. Your reality wasn't like the vision that you had, and you tested and experimented. And if not, you would have done something and went down a path that you didn't like. So it's so good to test. I want to end with this, and I really genuinely appreciate your time and who you are as a human being. I'm really big, Mel, these last couple of years on not having regret. You talk to 100, 65, 70, 80-year-olds, 98% are like, I should have, I wish, and they have regret. I cannot stand regret. Life's too short. What are your final words? If you were helping people right now take control of their life and not have regret, what would you tell them before you leave?
Don't waste your precious life worrying about things you can't control, worrying about things that are never going to happen, worrying about things that aren't worth worrying about. Like, you will rob yourself of so much joy, of so much opportunity if you allow yourself to sit here and worry. Those feelings that scare you will rise up. That is true. But allowing yourself to worry is a choice, and it's one that you don't have to make. So the next time you catch yourself drifting over here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, yank it right back and think about something that actually serves you. That is the secret to being successful. That's the secret to being happy. It's the secret to self-control. It's the secret to confidence. It's not letting your mind dwell in places that suck. And when you start to pay attention to where your thoughts drift, you will be startled at how often you are worrying. But you can retrain yourself to be the kind of person that actually doesn't spend your life there.
You heard it first from the legend, Mel Robbins. And Mel, I'm pretty overwhelmed and blown away. I know you say don't live there, but I'm living there. That you have 6,000 plus reviews on your Audible book that just launched 4 months ago. So I tell it, go to Audible right now, guys. The book will change the game for you. It's a lot of what she's talking about, but at a deeper level. It's on Audible. Type in Mel Robbins. Instagram, it's Mel Robbins Live, right?
Yeah. And YouTube. We're about to hit 100,000 subscribers. So Mel Robbins Live. We've only been putting up videos for a couple months now. So, and like, here's the thing, like the thing that like, I'm all about real change for real people. So there is a lot of robotic advice out there. And the truth is your power is your authenticity. And Peter talks a lot about this, and we've spent a lot of time talking about it. And so I don't view myself as an expert. I view myself as a fellow entrepreneur and mother and wife and friend and sister and daughter who is, you know, shit. Yesterday I posted about the fact that I had freaking lice, for crying out loud. Like I am just sharing the journey with you. And I am sharing the things that I've learned and am learning every day along the way, hoping that in some small way, it will alleviate a lot of the bullshit that I suffered through and make things easier for you. And all I ask is, I would love to hear from you. So if you use any of the stuff we're talking about and you're seeing results, let me know. Let Peter know. If you have add-ons and tweaks and ways to improve what Peter and I are doing or what we're saying or advice, let us know. Share your business successes, your personal successes. Kelly, send us a photo of you with your, 10-month-old on your lap. We want to celebrate you because at the end of the day, we're all just figuring it out.
What I'm realizing, and I want to get, before we leave, the reason why she's so focused on, well, you're not focused on it, but your speed is nuts with entrepreneurship, building the subscribers, your book, going from broke to 8 figures. It's because she's executing what she's teaching you guys. She's not taking something that she read from a book 10 years ago. Everything she teaches is from her experience of being in the trenches of struggling. And that's why you see her speed so fast in business that I want for you guys. Because she's living it, she's preaching it, but she's walking the walk. And like I say, if you walk the walk, you don't need to talk the talk. So Mel, you're the real deal. I'm going to say it again. You're a monster in a good way.
Oh man, I freaking love you. I love being called a monster. That's pretty awesome, dude. You're making me feel young, and that's hard to do.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you. And thanks again. And not just for your business success, for being a world-class human being first. That's admirable. And more people need to really take that approach to life. So thanks again. Much respect. And make sure you check out her book on Audible. And it's called The 5-Second Rule. Follow her on Instagram, Facebook. Go ahead.
I'm a huge fan of yours. So anything I can do, you say the word.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Much love. I appreciate you. And thanks again.
Thank you, honey.
All right. See ya. And guys, I'll tell you this, that was such a game-changing call. And I want you to make sure that you pick 1 or 2 things that really resonated with you, that was the aha moment, the breakthrough. Don't focus on everything at once. Focus on one thing that you can take action on and be tunnel vision with that action. And then put a time limit in your schedule, maybe in the next week, put an hour in your schedule to go back and watch this again after you've ordered her book on Audible, and pick one more thing, but don't move on till you've seen some results and outcomes in that actual specific action as well, okay? I appreciate you guys for being game changers. Thanks again for being part of this community. And we have some amazing stuff coming up. We have Grant Cardone coming up, Russell Brunson, Tim Ferriss, MJ DeMarco. But make sure you, A, know who you are, B, you know what you're willing to give up to get what you want, and continue to think and act like a game changer. To those of you guys that got invited by an elite member, you can apply at gamechangersmovement.com/apply. Much love. I appreciate you guys. Have an amazing rest of the day. See ya.